Folks, this little book, 100 pages, that's it. And look at the damage it has caused Islam. One book, the first of its kind. Want to see the reaction of the Muslims? We're going to show you two.
Let's turn our attention to Dr. J. Smith, who is with me here in studio, to address those refutations. Dr. J, welcome back.
Yeah, well, Dan Brubaker certainly caused a maelstrom when he came out with his book in 2019, June of 2019. I remember when he came out, the very day it came out, we introduced it at Speaker's Corner 2 hours after it was in publication. Since that time, the Muslims have been furious. I think it took them by surprise. I don't think they realized that there was this kind of material, this kind of research. No one had done this type of research. You would think the Muslims would do this own research themselves. Why is it an evangelical Christian here in the United States is the one that goes to all these manuscripts all over the world and physically not only visits them, but then takes pictures of all these variants or these corrections? He doesn't like to use the word variants. These are definite corrections. Well, it didn't take too long because once you have a book out there, someone's going to respond. And there have been two responses. Let me look at the first one and let's go to the slide. Let's bring this one up. So here's the first one by this guy named Hythem Sidky. Now, take a look who he is. He lives here in the United States. He's a postdoctorate fellow in molecular engineering at the University of Chicago. So he is not an Islamicist. He really has no training in this field.
Well, he will tell you this is his hobby. I mean, I heard him say that himself.
It's a hobby. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
And you can see he made some real... Well, what was fascinating, he, in 2021, so we're talking about 2 years later, came out with a scathing 15-page review of Dan's book in the journal called Al-Usur al-Wusta.
Al-Usur al-Wusta.
Thank you. Number 27 in 2019, from pages 273 to 288. 15 pages, scathing review of Daniel. What was fascinating, Daniel told me that he had been in his house
The week before,
and was having dinner with him when he realized that this is the, I don't know if he didn't know that this is the Daniel he was confronting. When he realized this is the guy that he just had handed into this scathing interview, he actually apologized to Daniel. He said, listen, there's a review coming of your book out. It's going to come out this week. Please forgive me. I didn't realize who you were. Well, Daniel, being Daniel, he was very congenial. He accepted it. He said, oh, great, let me see what you have to say. Daniel has now responded to that, and you can see his article, and it's up online. And Daniel found out that what Sidky did, he said things that Daniel never said. He went way beyond what Daniel had said.
Right.
Over and over again. He kept on claiming Daniel says this. And so Daniel wrote back, I never said this. I've never made this claim. I've just put it out there. I've just taken pictures, put it so people can see it, and show you that these are changes. But if you're just going to say that every one of these changes are scribal errors, this is just mistakes, ineptitude, possibly. But hold on a minute. Complete lines that have been erased, covereds, many coverings, these are all ineptitude. And the fact that what is left behind now supports what we now see in the Huff's manuscript. You saw the 16 examples we gave in the last two episodes. Are you saying this is mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake? And there's 4,000 of these in these manuscripts? He's only shown 20. Only 20 out of 4,000 that he already has. Wait till you find the other ones he's going to come up. These are intentional corrections. Absolutely intentional. So Sidky completely misconstrued, didn't understand what Daniel was saying, but misquoted Daniel. And much the response that Daniel said is, be careful, I've not said that. One of the things that Sidky came up with is that Daniel was claiming that these all happened since 1924. Daniel never said that.
Yeah, and you're saying Daniel did respond to him, but
it is responding. You can go up and you can get it online. Just put Daniel's response to Hythem Sidky and just put it up online, and you can get the response there.
Okay.
Well, if that wasn't bad enough, and this is Dr. Tayyar Altikulaç. We introduced him quite a bit earlier in one of our episodes. He is the one that has responsible for this book here, the Al-Musaf al-Sharif.
One of many, actually. Not
Actually,
just this one.
this is the most famous one. This is the Topkapi one.
Right.
And he is one that's in charge of IRSISA, Organization of the Islamic Conference Research Center for Islamic History, Art, and Culture. It's a huge organization there in Turkey. He is considered probably the world's leading scholar on the Quran, and rightly so, because he is of that ilk. Well, here, good old Altikulaç then comes out with an entire book. There it is right there, called Refutation, in 2020. In 2020, January of 2020, he wrote a 109-page book. Now remember, this book that he's refuting, that's why it's called Refutation, is only 100 pages as well. It's as big as the book he's refuting. Published it under the IRSISA title. What's fascinating is he's made many of the same mistakes that Sidky made. But here's what I'm curious about. Why in the world would Altikulaç go to this trouble of writing a book the same size as the book that he's refuting? He's never done this before. That entire IRSISA is created for putting out manuscripts.
Brother, when you issue an entire book saying Refutation of Daniel Brubaker, that in and of itself should prompt people to go and buy Daniel Brubaker's work, because it's obvious that it hit a nerve.
It hit a huge nerve.
Exactly.
And it's obvious to me also, after seeing how Yasser Qadi responded to us in November of 2020, how he responded this ultra-crepidarian material, which had nothing to do with Daniel, how he responded to Daniel, how Altikulaç is responding to Daniel, is that there have been thousands of Muslims have had these two scholars do that. They needed someone of stature. They needed two people of stature. They needed first Yasser Qadi to come and whale into Dan Brubaker, making accusations about Dan Brubaker, which he's never said, because he's never talked about the Qira'at. And then you have Altikulaç himself wasting his time on someone of Daniel, who really is nothing more than a man who has done his doctoral thesis on these changes, proving to me that obviously that Dan's small little book has caused immense damage and a clear concern within the Islamic academic circles. Yet, what's fascinating, these are only 20 examples. Dan has another 4,000 to go, and he's writing them as we speak. We've just been in contact with Dan, and he has come up and he said, many of us are waiting for Dan to actually respond to Refutation. He's all about ready to publish it. So it's about ready to go out there. But he's going to continue. He's got his whole career ahead of him. He's got his whole life ahead of him. He's quite young yet. He has an enormous amount of material yet. And he's going to go through every one of these 4,000, not just these 20. These are just the first 20. This is kind of whetting their appetite or whetting our appetite.
Does that mean we're going to see Refutation Part 2 and Part 3 and Part 4?
Part 4, Part 5, 6, all the thing. So we're probably going to see Altikulaç having to write all kinds of refutations. It's going to be, in his case, it's going to have to, but he's going to have to do a better job than what he did in this book. But all of these are not very difficult.
It seemed like, forgive me to say this, and I'm sure I understand where they're coming from and why they have to rush into doing this. And that's the phrase here. It seemed like they rushed into doing it without taking time at least to analyze the issues. Is that a fair statement? I
would suggest that they tried their best. I think this is someone that's caught in they're caught in the corner. You've got to have some type of response. I don't know how they can refute these. I can see this is an awful lot of yelling and screaming and hollering, getting someone like Sidky, who does not have the credentials to do what he has done, Altikulaç, who does have the credentials. If he could come out with a better response, where is it? Because Refutation is not that response. He's not dealing with all the wholesale changes. And if he's having this much problem with the first 20, well, we've got another 3,980 to go.
Right.
So he's going to have an enormous problem. And Daniel hasn't even come to conclusions on those yet. Those are all going to come out. But, bless Daniel. He's got his work, his whole life career cut out for him because he's going to be the man of changes. And this is just going to be a thorn in the side for Altikulaç. It's going to be a thorn in the side for the Sidkys of this world. It's going to be a thorn in the side for the Yasir Qadis of this world, and also for any Muslim that continues to make this claim that the Quran has never been changed. If you're going to continue to make this claim, the Quran has never changed, not one word, not one letter, you're going to have to deal with Dan Brubaker. You're going to have to deal with Hythem. You're going to have to deal with us.
Right. What are we talking about next?
Now we're going to change, and we're going to know, looking internally at the Quran, what about the historical problems? There's an enormous amount of historical anachronisms. We're going to show you some of them.
As it relates to the Quran.
As in the Quran. Looking at the Quran, we're going to look and see these historical anachronisms within the Quran itself.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully you can join us next time. God bless. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel CIRA International and click on the bell so that you receive notifications whenever we publish a new video or go live. I would also like to appeal to you to consider becoming a Patreon patron by clicking the link right below. By doing so, you can give towards the production of these videos. There are also other options for you where you can give to our channel. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.